Mhm. So let's take a small scenario and we can proceed further. So um, 1 second. Some company name called XYZ is running. I mean, I'll give you a small example, right? So uh, a company name called Airbnb. Okay, maybe let's take an example of Airbnb. They are they are kind of Airbnb is kind of an I don't know whether it's call it as a hotel service or whatever it is, but where you can log into that Airbnb app and you can um, search for rooms, the area that wherever you want to, and you can book the rooms or something like that, right? So it's kind of a company, and they are running their applications, Airbnb application on their own data center. Okay, I'm just creating a use case. Okay? So basically, Airbnb is kind of an, as I said, like it's an hotel. I mean, it's a kind of make my trip kind of a website where you can get into the Airbnb and you can book the rooms or whatever it is, room services and everything. I mean, hotels and everything for the stay, for the long term or short term stay, right? So let's take that company as an example, and they are running their Airbnb application on their own data center or their own on-premise. Okay, and if we can consider that Airbnb, obviously it's an app with global access, and people from various parts of the globe or various parts of the globe are accessing that specific applications and booking and book the rooms based on their trip requirement and whatever it is, right? So suddenly an holiday season comes into the picture. Let's take an example of Thanksgiving or whatever it is, right? Or a summer or spring holidays, right? Suddenly the number of people who are accessing the Airbnb and I mean booking for bookings, and they are doing the bookings. But initially, for example, when there is no holiday or Thanksgiving holidays or summer holidays, for example, per day, 1,000 users, 1,000 for example, concurrent users are accessing Airbnb and booking and performing the bookings, for example. But suddenly, due to the holiday season, maybe Airbnb also kind of announced some offers or whatever it is. The concurrent usage may be increased from 10,000 to 1,000 to 10,000, for example. Right. So if and whatever the servers and whatever the hardware that is currently catering the applications, Airbnb application can't cater to this many people at a time because of the uh, spec constraints or hardware constraints. For example, maybe the current Airbnb server may have 32 uh, 32 core machine with certain CPU and RAM, right? But suddenly, due to holidays or whatever the reasons, if the users at a time logging into the Airbnb and try to book the rooms or whatever it is, hotels, obviously this Airbnb server is bombarded with a lot of requests at a time concurrently, and they may see out of memory exceptions or out of CPU exceptions, and it won't be available for the end users, and the applications may be hanged and people won't able to create the go to the application and do the steps, right? So in this context, in on-premise world, what they will do, they will buy additional servers and specs, and they will add these additional servers into the the existing application, which is kind of scaling we generally call, right? But this adding the additional servers, purchasing the additional servers, adding the additional servers will definitely take a lot of time. And obviously holiday season may live for only 10 days or 20 days, and after that there won't be that much of user traffic, right? It may be again 1,000 concurrent users per day. Am I correct? So in that context, what will happen, whatever the additional servers they purchase for the sake of balancing the traffic will be waste for next 1 year until the next holiday season comes into the picture. Am I correct? So this is the problem, or this is where the problem is. So this is something that we need to solve, right? So maybe they may, I mean, I'm just making up the story here, guys. Okay, no offense. So so maybe these guys might be reached out to any consultant or somebody. They say and they explain this problem, then probably that consultant may come up with a solution or come up with an idea saying that why can't you leverage the cloud, where you can use various automation techniques and various cloud native features like auto scaling and blah blah blah. You can increase the size of the server horizontally or vertically during the peak of the business, and after that it will automatically be downgraded back to the original place. So maybe the consultant will give this idea, and he recommend to go to any of the cloud and or leverage the cloud, and why don't they lift and shift this application to cloud, and where they can create the resources which are related to applications, and they can add auto scaling rule saying that if the traffic is, if the traffic is more than if the CPU is more than 70% of the current application, 70% of the current application CPU 70%, then add additional 2 more servers into that specific into that pool, and if the traffic is less than 40%, decrease these additional servers back. So this can be done in the fraction of seconds and minutes, right? And when it compared to the on-premise, doing this one is very easy, and you can easily automate all this stuff in the cloud. And the advantage in the cloud is like where we can only pay for what we use. Generally, that is called pay as you go, right? And it is very scalable, and due to the elasticity nature, right? So basically, in good old days, when you buy a server and you need to put that server into your application stack, it will take months and years. But whereas when cloud comes into the picture with this all benefits like pay as you go model, scalable, elasticity, and there may not be maintenance from your own from your side, in the sense like in good old days where you need to maintain all these applications in a server room, which should have a lot of cabling and all those stuff, and you need to maintain the AC room, air condition for that servers and all those stuff. That is not needed, right, in the cloud era. So with this all the benefits, so maybe the consultant might have explained all these benefits to that specific company, so then they may opt for that specific cloud. All right, guys. Hope this story is kind of a little interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So with this benefits, maybe that consultant might have suggested them to go for a client, go for a cloud. So then that's where consultant also mentions that in the cloud, I mean, obviously, when in the cloud, when you purchase the cloud, the responsibility of your applications in the cloud is a kind of a shared responsibility model, right? In the sense, 1 second, guys. So shared responsibility model. Then maybe an organization or this application company, Airbnb, may ask them like, hey, what do you mean by shared responsibility model? In the sense like maybe AWS or Azure maintains the cloud infrastructure from their own data center, but the applications that whatever you deploy on top of the cloud, that is something that your own responsibility, right? So probably taking care of the security of the application. So pretty much the responsibility of the applications which are hosted on the cloud, some of the responsibilities comes to the cloud side, cloud provider, and some of the responsibilities comes to the cloud consumer. So we generally call security and other things in cloud is a shared responsibility model. It's not something that everything will be taken care by cloud service provider, or it's not something like that you have to take care of everything as a cloud consumer or cloud services consumer. So that is another thing. Okay. So then what type of clouds are there? Cloud services are there. So the first foremost thing is like IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. IaaS is nothing but the infrastructure as cloud. PaaS is nothing but platform infrastructure. Sorry, it's not a cloud, infrastructure as service. Sorry, my bad, guys. The PaaS is nothing but platform as a service, and SaaS is nothing but software as a service. So probably what is the infrastructure as a service in cloud? Can anybody explain? Not probably not these guys Prince and Sukrit, but maybe I can give this chance to other people. Okay, Sukrit, Reina, and Prince are not eligible for this question to answer. Maybe others can throw some light on what is infrastructure as a service in the cloud, what is platform as a service in the cloud, and software as a service in the cloud.
Providing only the infrastructure, like the virtual machine, software-defined networks, storage attached.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like the end users can use their platform, I mean, like softwares to install on these infrastructures and maintain the software side and just release the infrastructure.
Right.
For example, like partly AWS, the EC2 instance can be an infrastructure service.
Right. All right. Anybody else have any other answer for this infrastructure as service? I mean, let's speak out. It's not a problem. If it is if it is wrong, we can correct ourselves. If it is right, we can share our knowledge to others. That's not a problem. I will give you an example for infrastructure as a service, right? If you take an example of Outlook in good olden days, what will happen? You need to purchase your own server to install Outlook services or to create Outlook, I mean Microsoft Outlook servers, right? So as Vikas mentioned, am I right? Vikas, right? As Vikas mentioned, infrastructure as service is nothing but that. So you can, I mean, these cloud providers will provide you the infrastructure. On top of that infrastructure, you can deploy your own operating system, and on top of it, you may need to deploy your own software, or you may need to install your own Java or whatever it is, and deploy the software out of it. So in this context, what will happen is that I'll give you a small picture that will help you guys. 1 second. I mean, I'm looking for a diagram.
I think if you go to the images, you will find.
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to look for. It's in the
Yeah.
in the images section. Yeah, that's okay.
I understand. Yeah. Good. I mean, at least I mean, some of the audience may not have a good understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the bestest explanation one can get. This image.
Yeah. So basically, an infrastructure as a service, right? So where the cloud provider will give you the networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. And on top of it, we need to deploy our own operating system based on our requirement, and middleware and runtime data and applications. This is more of an infrastructure as service. So the best example for this infrastructure as service is like an AWS, Azure, and GCP. When it comes to platform as a service, right? In the platform as a service, sorry, the cloud provider will give you additional features or additional support apart from the networking stuff. Is like they'll maintain the operating system and middleware as well in runtime, and your job is to simply deploy the applications and data on top of it. Like if you take in an example of what is the best example for platform as a service? Anybody have any good idea, a good example of platform as a service? So in clouds like Azure and AWS, there is a concept called app service, which comes under platform as a service. Okay, but I don't think some of you guys may not understand, may not know what is that app service is. In the sense, like in that app service, what will happen is like they will maintain the runtime like Java, they will maintain the middleware and operating system. As a developer, you just write your own code and you just need to deploy your own application, and then it will act as a platform as a service. Okay, and the next one is software as a service. Software as a service is like you don't need to maintain anything. The best example for this is like your Gmail or Office 365. All these guys are like come under software as a service, right? So so the best example for this is like Office 365. So in good old days, what happened? There used to be an Microsoft server administrator who used to manage all our email servers, email server administrators who used to maintain entire Outlook servers and everything, right? But now with the adoption of cloud, people are not no need to maintain any of these things, so they can just use as a small software or as an app on top of your mobile and laptop, right? So that's nothing but an software as a service. So these are the three type of cloud services that are available. Okay, the best example for the software as a service is like Salesforce, SuccessFactors, Box, Outlook. All these are come under software as a service. All right, guys. Any questions? Okay, let's go to the types of cloud. So now, so far, I mean, I'm just still covering maybe next 1 or 2 classes also I'll cover pretty basics just to keep in mind that some of our audience or students may not come from cloud background. So I'll spend next 1 or 2 days on these small basics only. All right. The next thing is like types of cloud types. So basically, public clouds and private clouds. So what do you mean by public clouds and private clouds? Public clouds are nothing but AWS, Azure, GCP, Alibaba. All this comes under public cloud. Okay, somebody mentioned something in the chat. Yeah. All right. I'll mention that as well. So public clouds and private clouds, hybrid cloud and community cloud. So basically, what do you mean by public clouds? So public clouds are like, so basically those are like cloud service providers. They will, I mean, if you purchase a license from them, they will give you the cloud services like AWS, Azure, GCP, Alibaba. All this comes under public cloud types. The next one is private cloud. What do you mean by private cloud? Private cloud is nothing but, let's take an example of a big bank. So basically, where they don't want to put their applications somewhere outside the globe or somewhere outside the organization, and so then they will create their own cloud, or they will develop. They'll architect and develop their own cloud, and they'll maintain their workloads and applications in those clouds. So those are kind of called private cloud. So hybrid cloud is nothing but the combination of public and private clouds. And when it comes to community cloud is also kind of an hybrid cloud, but where the some companies are in agreement with the public clouds or some other clouds, they'll create a community out of it. So these are the various types of clouds, right? So this is about cloud types. So basically, if you take this example, this Airbnb example, okay, before the Airbnb opt for cloud, they used to use some sort of security controls to secure their data, secure their network, secure their applications within their data center. Do you really think those security controls, whatever they are using on their on-premise or data center, will be sufficient when they migrate their applications from on-premise to cloud? Definitely no, because maybe when the applications hosted on-premise or data center, everything is in their organization control and organization perimeter. But when these guys opt for a cloud and migrate the applications to cloud, obviously the cloud service provider is maintaining the cloud, and you are deploying your applications or migrating your applications from on-premise to cloud. Definitely the current traditional controls, whatever that are being used for that are being used in the data center world, won't work. And definitely you need a lot of additional security controls. Those are something that we are going to discuss. Okay, any questions?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So if we take this example, the same example of this Airbnb, right? Whenever the Airbnb application, okay, finally Airbnb decided to move their application from on-premise to cloud. So what are the different security controls they have to take care when they migrate from their application from on-premise to cloud? Obviously, as a company, they also put their requirements into the paper, right, before they move to the cloud. The first and foremost thing, probably the maybe the Airbnb application is in 3-tier application. Okay, 3-tier application, for example. What do you mean by 3-tier application, guys? Anybody else? I mean, anybody can somebody explain what is the 3-tier application? Just for the benefits of others, okay? It's not an interview or something. So whenever you architect an application, there are multiple ways to architect the application. So if you take an example of Airbnb, Amazon, Amazon.com or Flipkart.com, whatever it is, it's a web application, right? So obviously web application contains web tier, app tier, and database tier, all right? So whenever user hit www.airbnb.com, the request will first hit the web tier. So web tier will send that information to backend app tier. App tier will go to that specific database and it will fetch the data, right? So there are multiple ways to implement this application. You can deploy all the 3 tiers as a single bundle in a single server, or you can maintain separate servers for each tier. So basically, if you deploy everything as a single tier, then it's a single point of failure due to whatever the reasons. If a hacker or if a security incident happen, obviously all your data there may be a chance of compromising of everything. But if you deploy your applications in 3 tiers and have a proper firewalling between each tier, sometimes even though there is a security incident comes into the picture, it won't move to the next layers. So that is the advantage of 3-tier architecture. So Vikas just send a picture. I don't know whether how can I give me a second. Yeah, this is a 3-tier, good example of 3-tier application. So as an user, when you hope everybody is seeing this, as an user, when you connect from your desktop to a specific Amazon.com, Flipkart.com or Airbnb, you will hit this web server. So let's say like you hit www.amazon.com, and if you give the user name and password, so then it will go to the backend application and database, and it will fetch the response and it will submit the response to you on the browser, right? So in case if you deploy all these 3 together in a single server, there is a single point of failure. So that's why most of the times the recommendation should be deploy an application with proper tiering architecture. Right. So I mean, when Airbnb is putting the requirements onto paper, so what are the requirements that they need? So first of all, what they need to mention that what is their user base? How many users are using, I mean, accessing that application? Are they across the globe, or they belong to a specific region, right? So that is one thing that they have to keep in mind. I mean, they have to keep in mind. And the second thing is whether Airbnb is going to move entire application from on-premise to cloud, or a partial applications, some of their applications in the cloud and some of their applications in the on-premise. That is something that they need to decide. Like, is it a complete migration to cloud, or it's a kind of hybrid hybrid environment. hybrid environment is nothing but some of the applications are in the cloud and some of the applications are in the cloud and some of the applications are in the on-premise. That is called hybrid environment. And next thing, as I mentioned, what type of application is it? What type of application is this? Is it and what is the data that sits in the application? What is the data that sits in the application? In the sense, like the good example is whether your website or application holds any sensitive information like credit card, SSN number, Aadhaar, blah blah blah. So that is something that we need to understand. All right. Come on. If anybody have any thoughts, just let's put it in the paper. You consider yourself as an owner for Airbnb, and if you have any ideas or thoughts when you migrate from on-premise to cloud, what are the various things that we need to consider? Those things, just let's put it in the paper, and we can discuss those things in down the line when we move to the further classes. Okay. So what is their employee base? All of them are coming to office, or some of them are doing work from home, connect from the home or not, right? So do they need any VPN connectivity to connect from home network? Any other thoughts? Let's speak out, guys. Whatever it is, we can put it on the paper. Did you guys understand what I'm talking about, right? Or any doubts?
Yeah, it may be any third-party dependency or
third-party dependency in the sense, like you are saying is like it is B2C or B2B, right? In the sense, like, are there any other outside consumers that are connecting to this Airbnb or not, right? Makes sense. Very good point. Anything else? This is how, when in a group meeting, right, we can come up with various different ideas and different requirements. So who knows, in this class somebody will start some other startup and give me an offer, right? What else?
I think pricing.
Sorry?
Pricing.
Okay, like cost. Right. Good. What else?
Downtime.
Very good. Like 99.999, huh? Okay, just an example. What else?
security concerns also. Like
Okay.
currently what security controls they have, and can the same will be implemented on cloud.
Current controls. Your point is right. Current controls, what exactly that company is having, whether these cloud providers are having those controls are not, at least, and what are the additional controls that they are offering, right?
Yeah.
See, first and foremost thing is like the whatever the existing controls, whether with the cloud adoption, those existing controls will work or not. And second thing, what are the additional controls that this cloud service providers offers?
Yeah.
Right? Current
and
controls.
Since we are moving to cloud, so any additional security controls do we need to deploy?
Yeah. Yeah, I am covering both of them, right? Current controls and additional controls supporting support by cloud provider.
Yes.
Right. Good. What else?
Checking the compliance requirements.
Regulations and compliance. Probably if your Airbnb application is being accessed by UK and Europe people, maybe we have to follow the GDPR compliance, right? And we also need to take care of personally identifiable information compliance.
Yes, the PII data.
PII and all this, right? Right. Yeah. What else?
Performance.
Performance pretty much comes here probably. Okay, downtime and performance.
The key performance indicators, I think.
KPIs.
KPIs, yes.
Okay. That's a nice word, actually. Everybody is saying everything is in KPI these days. That's a different story. Yeah. What else?
Probably the scaling strategy.
Auto scaling. Okay, scaling strategy, right. Okay, what else?
Maybe the application workload, because it's an hybrid model, like segment application workload.
Can you elaborate a little more, just for another audience? Okay, I mean,
like,
yeah,
how to say, like, as it's an on-prem and cloud, it's a kind of hybrid. So
yeah,
probably we need to check how much load balances, how the load balances are. I mean, like, how efficiently or how are they being managed? I mean, like, are they more on-prem or they are more on cloud? If it's on cloud, are they scaling according to the traffic that comes in? Like,
right. How efficiently integrations and load balancing and other whatever the aspects will work in hybrid mode. That is something that we are looking for, right?
Yeah.
And next point is, in the hybrid model, maybe some users are from on-premise and some users are from cloud, right? So then how we can manage the Active Directory or user management, Active Directory or yeah. And the next thing is like data classification, right?
Yeah.
What kind of data? Is it the red data that you guys are processing, or is it the green data, or yellow data?
Based on the
That is
data
something
classification,
that is something that we need.
I think based on the, you can also think of based on the data classification,
we can come up with come up with the data security strategy, right?
Yeah, the PCI DSS data type of compliances issue, or yeah. So
etc.
And the other thing is, who is owning these encryption tokenization? If it's the customer himself, or is it?
Yeah.
Usually in Europe, it's not allowed to. It's allowed, but they need to have different set of.
Yeah, that's correct. Is it cloud native key, or is it your own? Bring your own key kind of stuff.
Yeah.
BYOK, right? BYOK. Or even if you bring your own key, some customers they don't allow you to put that key also in the cloud, and they want to keep that key in their own on-premise HSM, right?
Yeah.
Hardware security modules. I mean, yeah, these are the various. I mean, these are okay, like a very small list.
And might be disaster and recovery plan, business continuity.
HA and DR, correct. Very good. Anything else? Probably we called well-architected framework. I mean, whatever the points that we discussed, all of them will be covered in that well-architected framework. Okay. What else? So monitoring and logging system is also important, right?
Yeah. How about
Like,
role-based access controls?
yeah, that's come under this
SAP.
Active Directory, user management, and access management. Okay, right? Monitoring and logging, like SIM, Sentinel, etc. Whatever it is. Sometimes they may use their on-premise systems like QRadar and etc. And sometimes they may say like no, let's go ahead with the other monitoring tools like SIM and SOAR, which provided by cloud service provider itself, like Sentinel.
I think we can club this point with the 9th point, security concern.
Cool. Yeah, I mean
Yeah, got it.
this is pretty much come under logging.
Yeah.
It's not only security concern. So when you log, are we masking the sensitive log information or not, comes under the security concern. Okay. Maybe what exactly you are logging? Is it only application log or infrastructure log? Right? Sometimes you only log infrastructure like your load balancer, your EC2 machines logs. But sometimes there are the situations where you need to log your application logs as well. Right?
Yeah.
When you log the application logs, what exactly you are logging, and from that log what kind of incidents that we can take out, right? So incident management. So basically, I mean, just giving an example, when you go for an interviews, right, touch upon these points. So I mean, in the sense like, okay, I participated in cloud migration. That is maybe if you are answering to him something like what are the activities that you did in your previous job or something, then you may mention that, okay, I participated in cloud migration, whatever it is. Then you can cover some of these points with some examples, right? It will give you a good impression in the interview, and you will get a good, I mean, they'll get a good understanding about you. Logging, yeah, HA&ER, patch management.
OS hardening.
Yeah, patch management and OS hardening. Or software updates. Yeah, these are some of the things that they will, other than this. See, basically, when you opt for a cloud, you need to trust the cloud as well, right? So cloud service provider has to give you some documents, like what are the security controls that they are using, whether they are maintaining their data center with all the security controls or not, are they following the proper compliance and regulations or not. They will give you some document about their cloud, okay? So if you go through that document, and if you see any discrepancies or something, you can go back and talk to your cloud service provider saying that, hey guys, give me this document, that document, whatever the document it is. And sometimes most of them will be available in the internet in their own websites, or sometimes that specific sales people or professional service consultant will give you that all the information. Okay, so based on all this, then you will decide whether you want to go to cloud or not, right? And another thing also, like what kind of application that you are exactly running. You want to run your applications on top of virtual machines, or you want to leverage the Kubernetes kind of containerized environment for your application or something like that. Based on that also, you can choose. Sometimes you have to choose a different service provider. Maybe, for example, I'm just giving an example. It's not it's not, whatever I'm saying is not 100% true, but let's say like your Airbnb application is running on virtual machines today, and you want to when you want to migrate it to the same virtual machines like EC2, then you can opt for AWS. But let's say like, no, you don't want to use the virtual machines. You want to containerize all your applications, and you want to use the DevOps pipeline to deploy the application. You want to maintain the Kubernetes. You want to maintain your application on top of an orchestrator like Kubernetes, Tanzu, or whatever it is. Then you may need to opt for Google Cloud. So based on your application strategy and application development lifecycle and application type also, you can decide what kind of cloud provider that you want to choose. Understand? Nowadays, all the cloud providers are providing most of all these features. I mean, it's kind of like your Yamaha bike and Hero bike. Bike is same, brands are different, right? So in the same context, all the clouds are giving similar set of features, but if you take an example of Google Cloud, they are very good at data processing. So maybe if you want to use data processing, data mining, big SQL queries, big queries, and all those stuff, generally people will go for Google Cloud. And if you want to run the Kubernetes applications, people will go for Google Cloud. And if your applications are something related to something else, you may go for Azure and AWS. So that kind of decision making also will be taking place as part of their analysis and requirement gathering. Got it? Any questions or any of your experience that will help here? Patch management. Okay. Okay. Single sign-on kind of service. Single sign-on kind of. I mean, that is also come under Active Directory. SSO. Whether when you deploy the applications, whether you are able to do an SSO or not, and all those things comes into the picture. All right. So these are the various things that people will. I mean, organizations will considering, and they'll keep these in mind, and then they'll go for and obviously out of all this, security is the biggest concern for everybody nowadays, right? Any kind of security it is, right? So all these things are come under consideration when you opt for a cloud. Okay, now let's go to sorry. And I mean, generally in these classes, we'll go for a free cloud, free tier, but generally we will. I mean, in organizations, people will purchase the cloud, and they will use the cloud. So if you take an example of this cloud, so you can go for a free trial account, and you can create a free tier account. Okay. If you look at here, right, clouds like AWS, they are giving these many services. If you take an example of compute, so in the compute, EC2 is nothing but virtual machine. Lambda is nothing but the function as a service, right? And containers, Amazon also supports Kubernetes, Redshift, and Amazon maintains their own rocketry kind of thing. And if you want to store your files or something, you can use the service like storage, like S3, where you can store the files. And if your 3-tier application needs a database, okay, 1 second. 30 days, Lokesh, 90% it is 30 days. 30 days, Lokesh. How many days we are using this account? Probably it is around 30, 40 days you can use. And database, Amazon supports these many data. I mean, Amazon provides these many databases. I mean, obviously, sometimes your application may need relational database. Sometimes your application may need databases like DynamoDB or NoSQL DBs or something like that. Then you can choose the database from this list. And migration, when you migrate from on-premise to cloud, there are some services which will be used as part of the migration. And networking, so when you deploy your applications into cloud, how can you create a network segmentation by using VPC, and how can you create a DNS, how can you create different network things. So likewise, Amazon supports around 10,000 or some 50,000 services around. I mean, some thousands of services Amazon supports. So based on your business, based on your requirement, you can choose. And when it comes to security, identity, and compliance, these are the security services or cloud native security services that are being supported by Amazon. So generally, in our class, we'll touch most of these security services. So IAM, identity and access management. Cognito is for single sign-on. Secrets manager in the sense, like, let's say, like you are developing an application where you need to give the username and password of your database to connect to database from your application. Instead of directly putting the database into directly putting the credentials into the code, you can use the secret manager and call the secrets from there. Likewise, guard duty is, I'm hearing some echo. Can you guys be on mute? Who is okay? Because I'll be making you mute, man. Sorry for that. Okay. Yeah, guard duty will just checks, are there any threats and something. Inspector will give you the information about the vulnerabilities that are there in your application or in your infrastructure. Amazon Macie, this service will scan your S3 and let you know, are there any personally identifiable information or something. And certification manager is something where you can use the certificate manager as a GoDaddy, Tawate or something like that, where you can create your own public private certificates, and you can use those certificates for your SSL traffic encryption or TLS traffic encryption. Key management service we just discussed in our in previously 10 minutes before. So organizations, they'll try to use data encryption methodologies to encrypt their sensitive data. So for that, Amazon supports a key management service where they can create a key and use that key for the data encryption, right? And Cloud HSM, this is also something related to key management service, but this is a hardware security module. We will discuss all these points. I'm just giving you a small idea. WAF and Shield. WAF is nothing but web application firewall. It scans, I mean, in the sense, like whenever the request comes to your WAF from the internet, it will check for OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, and if there are any of those OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, it will block that request. Or if any request comes from some other region where your business is not there, then it will check that that request and it will take necessary actions. Shield is nothing but the distributed denial of service mitigation service. So like this AWS artifact here, where you can store your Docker images, it's kind of an kind of a repository or registry service. Like this, there are a lot of security services out there, and even for cost management also, you can use these different AWS services and see. You will get an advanced notification when you are reaching certain amount of credits in your cloud while spending the cloud resources, right? So likewise, there are various services are there in this cloud provider AWS. In the same way, in Azure or GCP also, there are a lot of services based on your business, based on your requirement. Whatever the services that you need, you will utilize those services, and you will only pay for those services. That is the beauty of this cloud native solutions and services. All right. That's about it. Any questions? We can spend next 5 minutes for the questions and we can discuss. Shravan, Prince, Lokesh, Ishwar, Bharati. Yeah, please speak out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, right? So then we can discuss. And when we discuss the questions in the class, it will register in your mind. So that is the intention actually, okay? I hope.
Yeah, no question right now, Rajesh, from my end. It's all clear.
Okay, yeah, cool. I mean, I'm just giving you a very basic information.
Yes,
Just to,
yes.
I'm just prepping you for next steps. Okay. I mean, if our grounds are clear, then we can go for the next steps. So that's the intention. Yeah. All right. In case if you guys don't have any questions, maybe some of you has to take next session and I'll listen to you guys. That's fine, not an issue. I think if we don't have any questions or any other discussions, let's wind up the session for today. We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.